All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube? We're back with the Tuesday, November 7th NHL Quick Hit video here for you. We got a nice 10-game slate tonight. Massive prize pools over on DraftKings because NHL is the only sport going on, and we got you covered over here at SHIPITNation.com. I will have my slate plan, my core plays, our matchup sheet, and the best projections in the industry. All will be live behind the paywall at SHIPITNation.com. If you are not a member, head over to SHIPITNation.com. and sign up for any of the packages we offer, 6-month, year, or the monthly package. Get all access to all of our sports, including NBA, NFL, MMA, PGA, you name it, we have it over here for as low as $69.99 a month. But let's go ahead and dive right in. We got a great slate here tonight and lots of spots to talk about. We got some teams on a back-to-back, some teams on three games in 4 nights here. Looking at the slate from a high-level overview here, I'm going to go through some of the top teams in terms of team totals and the game totals, and then I'll go through some of my favorite stacks. Then some of my favorite value plays at each position, center, wing, and D, and then my favorite goalies. And then, as always, my final notes and content will be live over at SHIPITNation.com. If you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, helps us out a ton. We're on a drive for 5 here on this YouTube station. Once we hit to 5,000 subscribers, we're going to give away a yearly membership to a lucky viewer on this YouTube station here. So definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And down in the comment section, drop your favorite stacks, your favorite goalies that you're looking at playing tonight in hopes to win $100,000 over there on DraftKings tonight. From a team totals perspective, Carolina leads the slate at 4.55, Pittsburgh 4.2, Philadelphia Flyers at 4.1, the Avs at 4.3, the Rangers at 3.5, and then the Jets round out the top 6 there at 3.4. Obviously, on the flip side, some of the lowest team totals, the Sabres sitting under 3, the Ducks, the Sharks, the Red Wings, the Devils, the Blues, the Canadians, the Predators, all under 3 as well. In terms of game totals, we have a couple, actually quite a few 6.5 totals. Buffalo and the Carolina Hurricanes there. Carolina obviously at home, massive favorites at home. That is a 6.5 total. The Lightning, who are on 3 games in 4 nights here, head into Montreal to face Jake Allen and the Canadians. That's a 6.5 total. And then the last 3 games of the slate are all 6.5 totals as well. So definitely going to be a spot where these late night hammers could come through for you, including the Philadelphia Flyers there. Minus 186 road favorites against the woeful San Jose Sharks, who are winless on the season and gave up 20 goals in their last 2 games. So definitely a talking point there, but that's a 6.5 total. And then the other 2 6.5 totals on the slate are the Devils in Colorado facing the Avs there, 6.5. And then the Penguins in Anaheim facing Gibson there on home ice. They're minus 191 road favorites there, 6.5 total in that. No 5.5 totals on the slate. The rest are all 6. So obviously there's many spots you can go. But I'm going to give you my top 6 or 7 favorite stacks, give or take here first. And my favorite stack of the night is definitely going to be these Philly Flyers. They're very reasonably priced here. And they're facing the Sharks, like I said. I mean, the Sharks have been absolutely horrendous, especially the last 2 games. The Sharks gave up 10 goals to Pittsburgh, 10 goals to Vancouver, 3 goals to Washington, 3 to Carolina, 6 goals to Tampa. I mean, they haven't given up under 3 goals in any game this season outside of the second game of the year. And it's just been a fantasy producing spot that I'm going to continue to stack teams against. I'm not seeing a ton of ownership go to them. Obviously, a 10-game slate. Number one, I don't worry about ownership too much in NHL. There's too many ways to get different, just like MLB DFS. It's very similar in terms of roster construction. Only thing I really worry about ownership-wise is on the goalies, things like that, because there's ways to get different lineup construction, 2-man stacks, 3-man stacks, lower owned secondary stack, things like that. That ownership doesn't really matter too much. So for me, I love these Flyers, and my favorite is actually the second line. Noah Cates Travis Konechny and Cam Atkinson. I really like the dual, the two-man stack of Konechny and Atkinson. Both of them are going to play around 18 minutes or so. Konechny's got 3 goals in his last 5 games, 18 shots on net. And Atkinson, 16 shots on net over the last 5 games and 2 goals as well. They're reasonably priced. Konechny's at 6,800 there. Atkinson at 5,500. Both of them very good. I like jumping up to the top line there as well. Morgan Frost, Forrester, and Owen Tippett there. Tippett's been very good. 5,100 for him. He's averaging right around 4 shots on net per game. Over the last 5 or so, 18 shots total with just 1 goal and an assist. So I expect some goals to come from that. He is firing the puck a ton, and he's 5,100. So I really like him. These prices overall for these guys are very cheap, and they're playing a very, very bad San Jose team who's been very, very leaky. Looking at my matchup sheet in particular on home ice, the Sharks are giving up 5.6 goals per game on average over their 6-game sample so far at home. Their expected goals is second worst in the league. They allow the most high danger chances in the league at 18.4. They allow the most shots on net per game at 38 on average, and their penalty kills 60.9%. So not very good. They give up to 20, right around 4 penalties per game as well. So everything points to Phillies as a late night, the Flyers here, excuse me, as a late night hammer. I love these Flyers. They're going to get a little ownership, but there's ways to get different. There's other teams to play. I like some lower owned stacks on the slate as well that are going to be underdogs and definitely going to be lower owned. So you can't go wrong with any of these guys. Again, my favorite 2-man stack for this Phillies team is Konechny and Atkinson there. You can add in Owen Tippett and then any of these other line mates. And you can't really go wrong with any of these guys. I would stick to my 4 favorites are, like I said, Konechny, Atkinson, Owen Tippett. And then you can add in a guy like Morgan Frost or Noah Cates. But outside of that, not really a ton of interest. Joel Farabee, I guess, would be another guy I would look at here. 10 shots on net over his last 5, 2 goals, 2 assists. So he's definitely involved, playing right around 15 to 16 minutes too. So love the Flyers here tonight on this slate. The next team that I'm going to go to here tonight is the Pittsburgh Penguins here in Anaheim. John Gibson can stand on his head. I think John Gibson's a very, very underrated goalie. It's just he's stuck on a very bad team here in Anaheim. But Pittsburgh has actually been the worst team so far this year. Anaheim's actually been pretty good, 7-4 to start the year. And actually pretty good defensively, but Pittsburgh's been very good on the road. Second best road scoring team in the league. They take the second most high danger chances in the league as well, or draw the second most, I should say, at 15.5. Very, very good power play on the road here, 33.3%. And looking at the Ducks, they give up the second most penalties against per game on home ice here. So I really like these Penguins. I don't see a ton of ownership going to them because people are going to look at the Ducks here. Ducks at home, they've been pretty solid. They've been decent defensively overall, but Pittsburgh's just a different team away from Pittsburgh here. And Sidney Crosby, Ryan Rust, and Jake Guentzel, that top line there has 117 unblocked shot attempts for over the last 10 games. So I really like this top line for Pittsburgh here. Again, they're reasonably priced. Sid at 8,200, Guentzel at 7,700, and Brian Rust at 6,600. Thing I like about them too is they're also a pivot off of Colorado. At similar price points because Colorado is going to be very chalky on the slate. McKinnon, Rantanen, and Jonathan Drouin, that top line for Colorado at home, which I do have interest in. We'll talk about them in a little bit here. But I really like Pittsburgh in this spot. Think they can get some shots on net. And I don't even hate this second line, right? On the road, I usually like second liners a little bit more. And the second line is definitely more reasonably priced with Rickard Rakell, Evgeny Malkin, and Riley Smith. Pittsburgh's been doing very good as of late. Rakell, they all got nice price points. So give me these top 2 lines a lot. I like them a lot for Pittsburgh. Think they can put some nets or pucks in the net, here in Anaheim against John Gibson. Next stack I'm looking at, I'm going to talk about it. It's the Avs here at home versus the Devils. Going to be very chalky here. Devils have been kind of middle of the pack in terms of defensively on the road this season. They've been very good offensively. This is I can expect this game. This game's going to go one of 2 ways. It's going to either shoot out or it's going to be like a 1-0 game. Obviously, last time these 2 teams played in New Jersey last season, it was 5-7 with Jersey winning the game. And then when the game was in that was in Colorado. Last time these two teams played in Colorado here, it was 7-5 in favor of the Devils. Obviously, that was last season. This is a new year overall, but do expect there to either be a ton of goals in this one, or it's going to be like a 1-0 game. I lean more towards a lot of goals in this one because both teams have been very good. The Avs been the second best home scoring team in the league. Devils been the fifth best road scoring team in the league. Both of them, their expected goals are way up there. The Devils actually are the best expected goals team in the league at over 4.1. Take the most shots on net. They have the best power play on the road this year, cashing in at 55% of their chances. And the Avs do give up the third most penalties per game. So like both sides of this game a little bit. New Jersey, I would focus on the top power play for them. And then the Avs, I think you can go to any of these Avs here. Personally, this top line is going to be super chalky. Projected to be the highest owned line stack on the entire slate. So I'd actually be a little bit under on McKinnon, Rantanen, and Jonathan Drouin personally. Obviously, you can always play McKinnon and Rantanen each and every slate, but at their ownership and their price points, I'll probably be a little bit under on them and kind of lean towards the second line a little bit or a jump down to this third line. Ross Colton's got 16 shots in net over his last 5 games. He's cheap. With 2 goals there. But the second line with Artturi Lehkonen, Ryan Johansson, and Valeri Nichushkin is actually my preferred line if I'm going to Colorado here. Like the second line for the Avs, prefer them over the top line if going to them. So like the Avs a little bit, but I'm going to be under on that top line personally in this game. The next team I actually have interest in is going to be super low owned on this slate, in my opinion, here because they are not favorites, but they are at home. Facing Tampa Bay here. Tampa just lit the slate up last night on that 4-gamer. They're playing 3 games in 4 nights here, and now they're traveling into Montreal to face the Canadiens here. Canadiens, my favorite dog on the slate here. I expect them to score a lot of goals. Tampa is number 1 playing on tired legs. Number 2 is the second worst road defense in the league in terms of goals against at 4.63. And I just think Montreal can, at their price points, can pay off in terms of fantasy scoring here. So I do like Montreal on a home ice here. I'll talk about them in terms of goalies as well later on in this slate. I have interest in their goalie, but Cole Caulfield, top line, top power play. He's averaging right around 6 shots per game over the last 5, 6,900 for him. Really like him. Monahan here, Sean Monahan, second line center, but top power play. He's been very, very good over the last 5, averaging right around 15 fantasy points per game on average. He's going to take right around 3.5 to 4 shots per game as well. Brendan Gallagher is a very, very nice salary saver on the slate, back-to-back 20-point games. I'm going to play 15 to 16 minutes. He's averaging over 3 shots per game over the last 5, and he's just 3,300. I really like him. Nick Suzuki, top line center here, top power play as well. 5,500 for him. So these price points on these Canadians, very cheap on home ice in a matchup where I think they can score goals. Again, Tampa on a back-to-back, 3 games in 4 nights. Sign me up for some of these Canadians here in this spot. I think Montreal wins the game outright. Personally, and I think these guys can pay off their price points, and I don't expect a lot of ownership to go to them at all here. Next team on the slate that I have interest in is actually going to be on the opposite side of the chalk. I think the Rangers are going to be pretty high owned in the slate. I'm seeing both their top 2 lines, the Panarin line and the Chris Kreider-Zibanejad line. Both of those 2 of the top 5 stacks in terms of projected ownership here. And I'm actually going to go to the other side of the puck, and I'm going to play these Red Wings here on the road. I just think these Red Wings can score some goals here. And I'm going to focus on that top power play personally for the Detroit Red Wings. It's been the 3rd best road power play in the league, cashing in 35% of their opportunities. Looking at the Rangers, their penalty kill at home is 64%. And they allow nearly 4 chances per game. So sign me up for a low-owned top power play stack in the Detroit Red Wings. Alex DeBrincat, Dylan Larkin is a game-time decision, but if he plays, I like him a lot. Ghost Becerre, Lucas Raymond is very cheap, top power play, correlates well with DeBrincat and Larkin, full strength as well. So really like that top line, top top line for Detroit because they do correlate as well with the top power play. Ghost Becerra is the D-man that's going to run point on that top power play as well. He's sub 5K as a D-man on him. And then David Perron is sub 4K on that top power play as well. And he's been pretty good, 3,700 for him. So really like this top power play for Detroit. They're going to be super low owned. And this top line in general is second in the league over the last 10 games in terms of unblocked shot attempts for on net with Dylan Larkin, DeBrincat, and Lucas Raymond. They have 11 goals over the last 10 games, 99 unblocked shot attempts on net as well. So Detroit, line one, top power play, going to be low owned. On the other side of the chalk, really like that for GPPs here tonight. Two more stacks I'm looking at tonight. Obviously, there's 20 teams to choose from. You might be on some other stacks than I'm on, but I'm just giving you my favorite stacks I'm looking at, and I think a lot of them are going to be pretty low owned. But my first one here is going to be Carolina. Carolina is the heaviest favorite on the slate here at home against UPL and the Buffalo Sabres here. Highest team total on the slate. You can go to pretty much anyone on the slate. Sebastian Aho, sub 7K. Very nice price point on him. Seth Jarvis, 5,800. Very nice price point on him. Overall, this top line is very, very affordable. And in Steven Nelson as well at 3K on this top line. But an interesting spot here for me is actually for Carolina. Let me just pull it up here. Give me a second. Is actually going to be this fourth line. Jordan Staal, Jesper Fast, Jordan Martinook here. The reason I like them is, number one, they're all playing right around 15 to 17 minutes. They have a ton of shots on net over the last 5 games, 13, 8, and 5. And nobody's going to go to them. Everybody's going to play these higher these higher lines for Carolina. And over the last 10 games, they have 90 unblocked shot attempts for on net as a fourth line. Super, super cheap. So I really like the Jordan Staal, Jesper Fast, Jordan Martinook, Carolina 4 line. That's my lower owned sleeper line of the night here. Think they can score goals against Buffalo here. Buffalo has been very leaky to start the year, allowing over 3.5 goals per game on average. They allow the 5th most shots against on the road as well. And they allow over 12 high danger chances per game as well. So really like this this fourth line here for Carolina. Obviously, you can play the other guys, highest team total on the slate. But if I'm going to Carolina, I'm going to jump down and take a peek at this fourth line here for value. The last team I have interest here is another home team here. It's Arizona. It's a Coyotes night here. I like this top line a lot for the Coyotes here. It's not the greatest matchup on paper, but really like their top power play. Clayton Keller, Sean Durzi, Nick Schmaltz, Barrett Hayton, and Logan Cooley here. Think they can get the job done. Nick Schmaltz, 5,600, Durzi, 5,800, Hayton at 5K, and Clayton Keller at 7,500. So at home here, Arizona, the nice thing as well, over the last 10 games, they got 90 unblocked shot attempts for on net. So they're firing the puck. The shots aren't getting blocked. They're putting the rubber on the net, and they only have 3 goals over that span. So I expect some positive regression coming, and it's a great spot here at low ownership against this Seattle team who is 4-8 and can be scored on here to start the year. Typically like these Yotes a little bit more on home ice as well. So looking at Arizona as my 7th favorite stack on this, or not 7th favorite stack, but one of my top 7 stacks of the slate here. Main top line, top power play. Ownership's not going to go there, so I'm not really worried about just sticking to that top line for Arizona. That's going to do it for some of my favorite stacks. Let's jump into some of my favorite value plays on the slate. First one we're going to talk about, I already mentioned him when I talked about the Avs, but it's going to be Ross Colton at 2,700, third liner, getting second power play time. He's averaging over 3 shots a net per game. He's $200 over min price, playing right around 13 to 14 minutes a game against on a team that's going to get a ton of ownership here in Colorado on home ice. So really like Ross Colton here at home against New Jersey as a value guy. Hard to go wrong at 2.7K. Another guy I'm going to go to, actually 2 guys for Arizona here. The first guy is going to be Nick Bjugstad here, second liner, second power play, 3,500 for him. He's done pretty good. Over the last 6 games, 14, 6, 13, 5, 9, 7 DraftKings points, 3,500 for him. Think he's fine, but I actually like this guy a little bit better for a value guy for Arizona here. It's actually going to be Jack McBain here, 2,800 for him, a fourth liner. He's still playing right around 13 to 14 minutes of ice time, and he's $300 over min price in a matchup that is pretty solid to centers. Seattle can get beat by the center position, and this guy's $300 over min price, averaging over 2 shots on net per game over the last 5, and did have 2 goals back against Chicago on the 30th. So can definitely has shown he has the ability to score, and I think nobody's going to go to him. So Jack McBain and a team that I already have interest in the Coyotes, think makes sense as a value guy. A couple more value centers on this slate. First one is going to that Colorado-New Jersey game. Like I said, I think this game either shoots out or is 1-0. I lean more towards it shooting out. We see in 9, 10, 11 goals, something in that realm. So I have interest in both sides of the puck, but it's going to be Michael McLeod here. He's the top liner, obviously with the injuries there to New Jersey that they're dealing with. He's slotted into that top line center there, and he's 3,400. Has 3 great games in a row, 13, 6, and 20, coming off a goal last game on the road against Chicago here. He's averaging over 2.5 shots per game, 15 to 16 minutes of ice time expected, and he's skating next to Toffoli and Jesper Bratt here. So really think he's a good value play at 3,400. Michael McLeod here. 2 more for you guys. First one is going to be on the Minnesota Wild. This guy's been very, very good overall. And the New York Islanders actually have been fairly leaky on home ice. They allow the second most shots against per game on home ice as well. Marco Rossi has been very, very good. Top line, top power play. He's skating next to Boldy and Kaprizov here at 3,700, averaging right around 3 shots per game. He's playing over 18 minutes as well. 21, 16 DraftKings points in his last 2 against 2 solid teams, the Rangers and the Devils. Now heads into the Islanders here. I just think it's a good spot for him. He's been very good. So I'll take my chances at 3,700 if you need a one-off guy there. Or you can even throw him in as a 2-man or a 3-man stack with his line mates, Kaprizov and Matthew Boldy there. Last one for a value center, Yanni Gourde. I played this guy a ton. He's been very good over the last 4 games, playing 17 to 18 minutes on average, shooting the puck over 2 times per game. Going to pick up some block shots as well here. 21, 11, 10 DraftKings points in his last 3, and he's $3,200. So very, very cheap. Gets a matchup against Arizona here, which Arizona can definitely be scored on. So Yanni Gourde at 3,200. He's been playing very good hockey right now, so definitely have interest in him. Jumping into the wing position here, looking at some value guys. My first guy is actually going to be back to that Montreal team who I talked about, and I actually mentioned him earlier, but it's going to be Brendan Gallagher, 3,300 for him. Second line, second power play. He's shooting the puck over 3 times per game over the last 5, playing over 15 minutes on average, and he's $3,300. So I think he's definitely a nice value option for the Canadians in a game where I think Tampa comes in with tired legs on a back-to-back with travel, 3 games in 4 nights, and just broke the slate last night. So recency bias, people are going to go to that. So I actually like the Canadian side of that game quite a bit. Another value guy here is going to be a team that I didn't talk about much at all here, but it's Alex Killorn here. Second game now for the Anaheim Ducks. He's $200 over min price. I expect him to play upwards of 18, 19 minutes here, getting top power play time, skate next to Henrique and Silverberg for the Ducks against Pittsburgh, who can be leaky. They're right around middle of the pack on the road this season, allowing over 3 goals per game. Don't have a great penalty kill as well either. So Killorn at 2,700, he's been a good hockey player. Obviously he came over in a trade there, and this is going to be his second game for these Anaheim Ducks. And so as a one-off, I think he makes a lot of sense here, getting top power play run. That's typically what I like to look at for a value guy if I'm punting, is a guy that's going to see power play time, and he's going to see power play time here, and $200 over min price. Hard to go wrong. Played 17 minutes in his first game, only had 1 shot on net. So I expect him to be more involved in this game. So I really like him. Going back to the Arizona Coyotes here in this game, Lawson Crouse, 3,900 for him. I've been a huge Lawson Crouse guy last season. Continue to be a Lawson Crouse guy this season. He's just a very, very underrated hockey player. Second liner, second power play, skating next to McKelly and Nick Bjugstad, who I brought up as a value center that I'm looking at. So as a value line stack, you can definitely go to the second line as well for Arizona here if you can't afford that top line, which I had more interest in. But Lawson Crouse, 3,900. 8, 22, 15, 19 DraftKings points in his last 4 games. Going to play 16 to 18 minutes, firing the puck on average 3 times per game. I just think it's a good spot for him. Decent matchup overall. So Lawson Crouse, definitely have interest in him at sub 4K. 2 more guys as a value winger here. First guy I'm looking at is Anders Lee here. Anders Lee is down to 4K. Now gets Minnesota here. Minnesota's been the 3rd worst defense in the league in terms of goals against on the road. They have very, very good expected goals against numbers, so I do expect some negative goal regression to come, and it could happen here tonight. But I'll take my chances with the top liner at 4K in a good matchup. Wings against Minnesota have printed over the last 5 games. And he's 4K, averaging over 2 shots on net per game, skating next to Horvat and Matthew Barzal, 2 great line mates there. So 4K for Anders Lee, I just think is too cheap for the matchup that he's got here tonight. And the last guy, I mentioned him already, going back to that Detroit game, talked about liking Detroit on the other side of the chalk. Rangers tonight, 3,700, David Perron, second line, top power play. He's averaging over 2 shots on net per game. Going to play right around 15 minutes. And like I said, getting top power play run in a pretty solid power play matchup here. Rangers got the 2nd worst home penalty kill in the league. So David Perron here, averaging over 4 minutes of power play time over the last 5 games per game. And I'll take my chances at some 4K with a guy like David Perron here. Jumping into the D-man and the goalies to round out this show. But if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and in the comments, drop some of your favorite stacks that you're looking at, your favorite players that you're looking at tonight, in hopes to ship either $50K in that $20, or if you're playing the 444 there, ship $100K tonight in the NHL streets. Obviously, a lot of single entries have great prize pools. Overall, it's great prize pools here tonight on DraftKings for NHL. Let's jump into the D position here. First value D-man I'm looking at is actually for the New York Islanders here. D-man against Minnesota has been a thing all season that I've been looking at. And this first guy is $3,200, playing over 20 minutes, 16 and 11 in his last 2 games that he returned as he was out after he played the first game of the season against Buffalo. And then he sat out the last, 6 games or so in there, and then came back against Washington back on the 2nd. So this is his 3rd game back since he's returned back from injury. Scott Mayfield, 3,200, 3rd liner here for the Islanders at home against Minnesota, 3,200 for him. He hasn't scored under 11 DraftKings points in the 3 games he's played this season. So that's a nice value play there at D-man. That I'm looking at. Another value D-man here at the same price point, 3,200. Going back to the Anaheim team here, it's not the greatest matchup on paper for D-man, but this guy's going to block some shots. He's going to shoot the puck as well, and I expect Pittsburgh to be firing pucks on that. So you could see him block even more shots here. It's Radko Gudas for Anaheim Ducks. He's playing right around 18 to 20 minutes on average over the last 5, 16, 7, 11, 15, and 10 DraftKings points in his last 5 games. So another value guy at 3,200 I think you could play is Radko Gudas as a D-man. Another guy, the most expensive value guy, he's all the way up at 4K, but Mario Ferraro here for the San Jose Sharks. This guy's a huge shot blocker, averaging right around 3 shots per game blocked over the last 5, and I expect Philly to be firing pucks as the late night hammer here. So Mario Ferraro as a run back on that in that last game of the night at 4K as a D-man, 14, 11, and 11 in his last 3 games in terms of DraftKings scoring. He's going to shoot the puck as well. 4 shots on net against Washington and a shot on net in each of those last 2 games, even when they got absolutely destroyed. He's going to play right around 20 minutes. So 4K for him. I think you could definitely go to him. 2 more value D-men I'm looking at. First guy, Justin Schultz at that $3,200 price point. There's a lot of guys at $3,200 here that have nice spots and have been producing. So really wouldn't look to go below 3,200 here as D-men. And I think you could actually get away with playing 2 of these guys to spend up at some center and wings positions on the slate. but it's going to be Seattle. It's going to be Justin Schultz here. This guy's playing 16 to 18 minutes, 11, 16, 7, and 9 in his last 4 games here. Now gets Arizona, who he's had great success with in the past. He's had a goal last time he played Arizona last season, but he hasn't scored under 11 DraftKings points at all last season in the 3 games he's played Arizona. So 3,200 for him, getting power play time as well, averaging 4 shots blocks per game over the last 5. So Justin Schultz, 3,200, another value D-man you can take a look at. And then the last guy for me is back to D-man against Minnesota here. A little bit more expensive than Scott Mayfield, but 3,600. This guy's playing over 25 minutes per game, getting a lot more ice time. So I actually prefer him a little bit more to Mayfield if you have the extra $400 to get up to him. But it's Ryan Pulock here, skating on that second power play time, or second power play as well. 11, 21, and 15 DraftKings points in his last 3 games. I just think he's got a good matchup here. He's playing a ton of time, and you can definitely do worse for 3,600 on this slate. So Ryan Pulock, definitely a guy that I'm interested in as well as a value D-man for the Islanders. Jumping into the goalie section on the slate, some of my favorite goalies. My first guy I'm going to start with is, I talked about quite a bit of Islanders guys here. I'm not a believer in this Minnesota team on the road right now this season. I like Minnesota. They're my favorite hockey team. Obviously, Wisconsin doesn't have a hockey team here, but New York Islanders on home ice here. It's going to be Semyon Varlamov is my favorite goalie. One of my favorite goalies on the slate at just $7,700. He's been very good in the 3 games we've seen him this year. 40 saves, 34 saves, 32 saves, 2-1 as well. 7,700 for him. He's the highest projected goalie on the slate right now that I'm looking at. So I do expect him to get a little bit of ownership here, but ownership's going to be spread. Again, 10-game slate. He checks kind of all the boxes here. He's going to see volume. He's got a good chance to win the game here. Obviously, the Islanders are a slight favorite at home, and Minnesota, 7th best team in the league in terms of shots against. So he's going to see save. He's going to see shot volume to get that save bonus. And if he gets you to the 35 save bonus, which you're looking for, and in goalies on DraftKings, there's a good chance that he's going to find his way into that optimal lineup, and you're going to need him for GPP. So Semyon Varlamov, definitely have interest in him. If Ilya Sorokin does start, definitely can go to him, but it does look like Varlamov is going to be starting here tonight. I already talked about Montreal here in this game against Tampa, and this is a risky play, but I've been a huge Jake Allen guy. He's been a printer for me in years past, and he's $7,300 at home here against a team that's going to come in 3 games in 4 nights again with travel, and they're going to shoot the puck. It's a risky play, but he's $7,300, so the price is kind of baked in, and he's been good even in his losses this year. Gave up 6 goals to Toronto in his first start and still scored 11 DraftKings points. That's the kind of guy that I want to play in terms of DFS, because Montreal gives up a ton of shots on net, and Jake Allen is a very good goalie, can save them. So I'm really liking Jake Allen at $7,300. It's a nice spot against the Chalk Lightning as well, because that Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov line, especially after what they did last night, is definitely going to get more ownership here tonight again. So a little double leverage situation. I like Jake Allen at just $7,300. He can even get there in a loss and give up 3 or 4 goals and still be fine and not kill you in terms of DraftKings scoring. 2 more guys that I'm looking at in terms of goalies. The first guy is Saros here for the Nashville Predators. He is on the road, which I don't love it here, but he's absolutely owned Calgary last year, 32 and 31 DraftKings points in both times he faced Calgary. He won 3-2 last time he was in Calgary, and then won 2-1 on home ice there. Nashville's a good defensive team here. He's going to see some volume, and he's mid-priced, $7,500 for him. So not the greatest projection, but it's just a play that I think he's a good goalie, number 1. And number 2, I think he's going to see volume. And number 3, I expect him to post a nice game here tonight at just $7,500. And then the last guy I'm looking at, I already talked about having interest in these Arizona Coyotes on home ice here. It's going to be Connor Ingram at $7,600. Nice thing about him is he is a pivot off of Saros, who is projected to be pretty high owned on this slate. So $100 more. You get a home goalie here versus a road goalie. Connor Ingram against Seattle. He's been good in his last 2 starts, 23 and 19 DraftKings points, both winning against Chicago and Montreal. So like the offense, Like the price on him. Think he's going to see some volume and think he can get the job done at just 7,600. So that's going to do it for this edition of the NHL Quick Hit. Again, I will have my final content, core plays, slate plan, everything up on the website for premium subscribers. If you are not a subscriber, head over to shipitnation.com and select one of the packages, 6-month, year package, or monthly package for as low as $69 a month, and catch all the winners for all of our sports. But I'm going to get out of here, get my content up for all the members. I'll be in the Discord answering questions all the way up until lock here, with NHL being the pivotal sport of the night. But for myself, Nadesify, I'm going to get out of here. Good luck tonight in your contest. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. Let's ship it.